This army confession changes everything. Jungkook can't hold back the tears. No one expected that a simple confession from an army member at a BTS fan meeting would make Jungkook look down and cry in front of thousands of fans. The moment was not just a meeting between idols and fans, but a meeting between two hearts that understood each other in silence. When the world thinks Jungkook is a strong, perfect figure, behind those sharp eyes and gentle smile is hidden a fragile soul, which has been carrying a burden greater than his age. The incident began at a fan event held privately by HYBE in Seoul. One of the soldiers who had the opportunity to speak directly to Jungkook suddenly raised the microphone with a trembling voice. "I want to say something, not as a fan, but as someone who once almost gave up on life." The sound of the room was immediately silent. Jungkook looked at her, and his normally bright eyes suddenly dimmed, as if he felt the pain coming out of every word. "I went through a dark time in my life, and the only thing that kept me going was your voice. I watched your video when you said, 'Don't give up, you're worth it.' At that time I really thought those words were just a formality of the artist. But as it turned out, it saved me. Because of you, I'm still here today." Jungkook, who was sitting in the chair, then lowered his head. His hands covered his face, his shoulders began to tremble. Tears broke out in the silence of the room. HYBE's staff, who had originally kept their distance, immediately stared at him anxiously. But Jungkook raised his hand slowly, rejecting the tissue. "I want to hear everything," he said quietly, his voice hoarse. The army continued, "I know you often say you're fine, but I want you to know we want you to be happy too. You don't have to keep going strong. You've had enough." The sentence hit Jungkook like lightning in the pouring rain. He lifted his face, puffy eyes, and could only say, "Thank you. I don't know how to repay all this." The scene spread quickly in cyberspace. A 30-second video of the event suddenly went viral on Twitter and TikTok. The hashtag #JungkookCryForArmy immediately topped trending in 17 countries. Thousands of comments flooded the post, most writing the same thing: it wasn't a sad cry, but the cry of someone who finally felt understood. For years Jungkook lived with a heavy burden as the face of BTS, the youngest idol to grow up in front of millions of eyes, without ever really having time to grow as himself. In several interviews, Jungkook often talked about loneliness, but always closed with a smile. He always tries to look strong, even though behind the scenes, he is the one who most often calms the other members, and also the one who most often blames himself if something doesn't go perfectly. That moment became an emotional turning point, not only for the army present, but also for Jungkook himself. After the show ended, Jungkook wrote on the Weverse platform, "Sometimes I forget that the love I give can also come back to me. Today I learned not to hold back tears, because it is also a form of love." The message invited thousands of replies. Many ARMY wrote similar stories, how BTS, especially Jungkook, became their reason to wake up in the morning, to smile in the midst of pressure, and to believe that they were worth enough. One of the most liked comments read, "You may not know who we are one by one, but you have touched the hearts of all of us. And today, it is we who want to touch your heart with the same love." What makes this story even more touching is the way Jungkook responded afterwards. A few days later, he went live on the bangtantv platform, with a plain face without makeup, wearing a black hoodie. Without a script, without a director, Jungkook speaks from the heart. "I always say I'm fine, but the truth is that I'm also human. I also feel tired, sometimes lonely. But after hearing you guys, I feel like I'm not alone. You also made me strong." His tone was soft but honest, and as he uttered the words, "I'm not alone," millions of soldiers around the world shed tears in front of the screen. For many, it wasn't just a live stream, it was a confession from the most sincere heart, from a child who grew up in a stressful world yet can still hug everyone with affection. Some entertainment observers even called the moment one of the most human interactions between idols and fans in the modern K-pop era. There is no longer a boundary between the stage and the audience. There are only two souls who strengthen each other, selflessly, without masks, only pure truth. Today, ARMY's recognition symbolizes the unique relationship between Jungkook and his fans, a relationship built not by popularity or album sales figures, but by emotional honesty. Many ARMY said, "We are not fans who just want to watch you shine, but also want to make sure you don't get burned." And for Jungkook, that moment seemed to open a new door in his life. He began to talk a lot about the importance of mental health, about feelings, about family, even about his mother who always asked a simple question, "Are you really okay today?" That question is now a reflection of the affection between mother, daughter, and millions of soldiers around the world who now act as a big family for Jungkook. That night, after the show ended and the lights went out, there was someone who walked slowly left the stage with eyes still wet, not because of weakness, but because love finally found its way home. It was Jungkook, who for the first time did not try to hold back tears, because he knew this time, his tears were not a sign of sadness, but proof that he was fully loved. After that tearful night, the mood in the BTS fandom changed drastically. It is no longer just a celebration of global achievements or new records on the world music charts, but rather a warm and real space of mutual understanding. Armies around the world began to create a movement titled #WeCryWithJungkook, as a form of solidarity that they not only want to see a smile on Jungkook's face, but also want to make sure the smile is born from genuine happiness. A few days later, Korean media began to highlight the moment. Article after article came up with various emotional headlines, but one sentence continued to resonate among them all: Jungkook has finally shown that behind his global fame, he remains a man with a soft heart. A number of psychologists even commented on the incident. They say that the moment in which Jungkook cries is not a sign of weakness, but a form of self-acceptance. He lets himself be seen, not as a perfect idol, but as someone who dares to be honest about his pain and gratitude. In an interview conducted by a Japanese magazine a few weeks later, Jungkook was asked about his feelings upon hearing ARMY's confession. He answered with a simple sentence but hit the feelings of anyone who read it. "All this time I felt that my main task was to make other people happy. Sometimes I need to be reminded that I deserve to be happy. The ARMY did it for me that night." That answer instantly became a viral quote. Many rewrote the sentence on various social media platforms, accompanied by a photo of Jungkook looking down, his eyes puffy, but his smile small and sincere. It didn't take long before international fanbase editors began making tribute videos, featuring snippets of Jungkook's moments from adolescence to the present, accompanied by soft music with captions reading, "Even heroes need someone to tell them they're enough."